enjoy. You welcome them.
Right. Honorable Segbefia will join us as well. I'm sure he's on his way and then he'll be with us shortly. But let's quickly get into the topics that we are discussing. We'll start with our African story as we've always done and as we always do. Niger's junta revokes military agreement with the United States. It says Niger's junta has ended a military agreement that allowed U.S. personnel to be deployed in the country. Saturday's announcement came in the week that a delegation from Washington had been in Niamey for talks with the country's military leadership. The U.S. used its base in Niger to monitor regional jihadist activity. This latest announcement by the junta in power since last July comes as it moves closer to Russia and after French troops were kicked out in December. The U.S. presence on the territory of the Republic of Niger is illegal and violates all the constitutional and democratic rules which would require the sovereign people to be consulted on the installation of a foreign army on its territory. Niger's military spokesperson, Colonel Amadou Abdourahmane, said in a damning statement on national television. He also alleged that the U.S. delegation had accused Niger of making a secret deal to supply uranium to Iran. Colonel Abdourahmane described the accusation as cynical and reminiscent of the Second Iraq War. And finally, he suggested that the U.S. had raised objections about the allies that Niger had chosen. The government of Niger therefore strongly denounces the condescending attitude combined with the threat of reprisals by the head of the American delegation against the government and the people of Niger. Referring to Niger's governing military council by the initials CNSP, U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said on X that he was aware of the statement, which follows frank discussions at senior levels in Niamey this week about our concerns with the CNSP's trajectory. We are in touch with the CNSP and will provide further updates as warranted. This is the story. Today's edition of the Daily Graphic, or the Daily Guide, I beg your pardon, page 5 has captured it. Is it not the same military base we have? Is it not a similar thing we have here in Ghana? At the airport?
Yes, we have. Oh. They are all over the place.
Right. Let me start with you, Solo, on this topic.
I mean, this decision by the junta should have been the decision of the African Union. Niger is a sovereign country, so what is the business of the U.S. Army having their bases in a country that they ought not to be there? It shows how weak Africa we have been. I am afraid whether or not the junta will survive. That is my only fear. Because if you look at...
Is it because of the enemies it has made?
Because it has enemies within. You understand? West African countries, those the countries that are surrounding Niger, how many of them do not have cooperation with the U.S. Army? A lot of them have bases, have agreements with the U.S. Army to the extent that, you remember Mr. Pratt has been talking about the U.S. agreement with Ghana that allows the U.S. military to do whatever they like when they come to Ghana, even when they kill a Ghanaian. The Ghanaian has no authority or any legal backing to send that military person to the court. So we have sold our sovereignty to these people and do whatever pleases them. They just started by dealing, first of all, with France. And when you deal with France, mind you, you have dealt with the U.S. because they are all part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that's NATO. And it is not about having a base there to deal with jihadists. The last time, Doc explained what jihadists mean. And it's a propaganda way of letting Islam look more bad. And last week I enjoyed the submission into two, that criminals have hijacked the Islamic religion and using it to do their own thing. And the U.S. have also joined the fray to say they are there to deal with jihadists. Who are the jihadists? All these vagabonds, criminals that we harbor in our various places and give them names, they are set up by the U.S. itself. Exactly. Where do they get the ammunition from? I mean, buying gun is not tomatoes. That any Tom Dick and Harry will just get up and say, I've acquired a gun. It's expensive. Even the ammunition that you put in there, very expensive. So you ask yourself, how do these extremists How do they survive? How do they get resources to engage in the sort of fighting that they do? All these resources are provided to them by the Americans together with the allies, so that they can come into your country, disturb you for them to steal your resources. What we are dealing with in Nigeria is about uranium. Nothing more, nothing else. Go to Djibouti, the U.S., that small country at the Horn of Africa, the U.S., China, NATO are all fighting to take charge of the country. Why is it so? Because they see a lot of trade movements that will be passing there, so they have to capture there. And that is what we are dealing with. I am tempted to believe that West African leaders will sell this junta. They have to watch their movements very carefully. I'm not a believer of these coup d'etat mentalities here and there. But if African Union were going to support any decision by any leader to get rid of these foreign invaders, I call them invaders, on our soil, it will help. They are not in to seek our what do you call it, remedies. They are not in for our welfare. They are only in to make sure that resources that our forebears, I always say that our forebears, they were very strong, they were very intelligent. Remember, our great-great-grandparents did not acquire the African soil on the silver platter. They fought, they beat these people to it intellectually, physically, spiritually. It got to our turn, Mugus. We have sold the sovereignty, the land that our forebears fought hard to get for us. Africa, gold, diamond, oil, everything. It was not as though the white didn't want this part of the world. They wanted it, just that our forebears were forthright. So if now we are fighting to regain our own independence, it should be good for Africa. Only that a lot of them are sold out. A lot of them are sold out. I don't wish this junta well. I don't envy them at all. Not that I don't wish, I don't envy them at all.
Don't envy them at all.
Because definitely, just like they did to Kwame Nkrumah, you know, Kwame Nkrumah, according to now the classified documents are suggesting that he was overthrown with the help of the CIA. Though I still insist that the Ghanaian counterparts that took part remains the enemies of the state. Remember Sankara, when Sankara decided to take on the West, bring development to Burkina, what happened to Sankara? He was killed. Lumumba, what happened to Lumumba? Any African who has had the vision of fighting the establishment, the West, you end up in the graves. And so, if you hear tomorrow that this junta, something has happened to them, do not be surprised. They have been sold by their colleagues in Africa. I'll end it here.
Let me say good morning to Honorable Secretary. It's always a delight to meet him. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. You are my colleagues.
You are looking great.
Thank you. I can smell victory. So
Right, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Right, Niger and all the issues.
Good morning to the cherished viewers of ours, and thank for the opportunity. Good morning to my colleagues. Yes, this is another opportunity for the government of Niger to restate the sovereignty of the state. But I associate myself with the submissions by Sulu. Two things are involved here: the need to fight imperialism and the need to remain as a sovereign state economically and politically. So at the end of the day, you realize that yes, what the government of Niger, the junta, has done is right. Yes, it is a clear expression against imperialism. And you've mentioned something that I want to explain. The American presence in countries, and then the alleged American involvement in the creation of the so-called jihadist movement. You know, just recently, Trump accused Mrs. Clinton of being a co-founder of ISIS. And of course, when ISIS was founded, it was not a secret. It was not a secret at all. I mean, some of the Democrats boasted that they founded ISIS to counter Russia. I'm telling you, they did that. You see, so at the end of the day, you realize that they have been involved in the formation of these terrorist organizations. And that's why last week I said that we should be blamed because we have allowed our religion to be hijacked by these terrorists and their sponsors in the so-called democratic states who pride themselves as protectors of democracy. They are really imperialists. And it is good, I salute the junta for at least stating or for taking a decision against the current wave of imperialism. You know, it is a wave of imperialism and colonialism that we must understand. It started as a political tool. Later it became an economic weapon. Now they are using military. So imperialism and colonialism are growing according to the dictates of the time. Yesterday, we fought political imperialism. Then, after the independence, we were subjected to another wave of colonialism, and that is economic colonialism or imperialism. And now they are using the combination of both economic, political, and military. So it is at all times important for African leaders to identify all these things and to rise against some of them. You made a point that the survival of the Niger junta. In fact, I agree with you. The junta cannot survive. You know why the junta cannot survive? One, it is not even in the interest of Nigerians to allow the junta to survive. Niger must restore constitutional normalcy. It is not in the interest. And I will never support any junta. No junta is meaningful. All junta leaders are self-seekers. There's no way Niger can grow in a state of junta administration. So the junta cannot survive. That's number one. Number two, the junta is also facing domestic enmity. President Nasser had to go for a deal, a peace deal with Israel. Not because he didn't want to resist, but because according to him, 95% of the cars in the Middle East was handled by the imperialists. You see, at the time, America controlled 95% of the sovereignty of the whole Middle East. So there was no need for resistance. You resist, and then your colleagues will be in bed with the same colonialists and imperialists. Yeah. And that was why he had to go for the peace deal. Because he realized that no, there was no need for it. And then if there's no need for resistance, the only option is to go for the peace deal. He didn't like it, but he was compelled. And that's exactly what is happening today in West Africa. There's no way. And you know, the leaders are not defending, they are not defending, or they are not opposing the military junta, not because they want democracy, but because they are lackeys of imperialism. They are stooges of imperialism. They think that they can be used as stooges of imperialism to present a semblance of democracy. What? In fact, most of our democratic dispensations in Africa cannot at all stand the test, the scrutiny of democracy. And because the leaders have allowed themselves to be used as lackeys of imperialism by the imperialist West, definitely they will always be used as people against any form of military junta. So it is a convergence of two evils. The first evil is the support for imperialism in the name of democracy. And the second evil is junta. And it is important for all African people and African leaders to realize these two evils and to rise against them. Let me end by telling the junta to do everything possible to return the country to constitutional order. There's no way the junta can survive. And if it survives, it is going to serve itself. I end by speaking to them in my broken French. Nous voulons la paix. Nous ne voulons pas la guerre. We want peace. We don't want war. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Marzouk. Now let me come to Honorables. Yeah, the right program.
Don't worry. Because we are discussing a French-speaking
country, so we will throw in a little bit of levez-vous, asseyez-vous.
So this is levez-vous.
All the vous and
this is linguistic solidarity.
Yes. You know.
Je ne comprends pas.
Oui. Mais on m'a dit que vous comprenez français très bien, n'est-ce pas?
I knew I was on the wrong program.
You said you don't understand, and I'm telling you, I've been told you understand very well.
I start from a different angle, or slightly different. I don't disagree with most of what has been said. First and foremost, good morning to you, Blessed. Good morning to my colleagues, and good morning to our viewers and listeners. We are in a difficult position in Africa in general, and we are on a journey. Let's understand this. We are on a journey of true self-realization and true independence. We have gotten what Kwame Nkrumah and a lot of his colleagues were able to give us, which is the basis of independence. But we have not really achieved true independence in Africa because of neocolonialism. And therefore, we are still in this battle. And we all have to understand that there was a foundation, but we are in it, and we have to find our liberation. So, when I look at Niger, I don't look at Niger as just Niger. I look at Mali. I look at the Francophone countries. And they are telling us and have laid a torch that we will not continue allowing the French to treat us this way. They may not get their liberation tomorrow or the day after, but the foundation stone has been laid. So for me, it's not a question of whether they are going to survive or not survive. The message is out there. You are cheating Africa too much. And look, if you listen to some of the tapes, and I'm glad some were on social media, of what Lee Kuan Yew did for us today to be praising Singapore, he actually said, look, and I'm not saying that that is to be condoned, but there was a time when he was in prison without trial. Listen to Lee Kuan Yew. Today we are praising Singapore. So they are always transiting, and he has learned from his mistakes, but he built what Obama told us: you need strong institutions. It's not about an individual. So whatever is happening in Niger or not, as the case may be, the message is clear. Too much exploitation of Africa cannot continue. Whether they have to go to the democratic table, whether they are ousted, whatever, the writing is on the wall for their colonial masters. Because they've never had, if we are saying we are not free, then I don't know what they will say. How can all your money go to a central bank in a different country? How? And you go and borrow it. You have to now go, and you must give reasons why your own money, you must explain. If the Nigerians didn't do anything right, the price of lithium, which they were being paid, has now been raised to what is being repaid on the market. Do we know how much money that has increased? That's just one clear example of imperialization that was going on. So I am not in favor of coup d'etats. But coup d'etats are a product of certain factors. If you put those factors in place, you end up with coup d'etats. And we can go and be shouting, oh, we need democracy. Yeah. Even the brand of democracy we are practicing. Ghana as a clear example. How is it benefiting us? Everything has become money. Everything has become money. So is this democracy as is envisaged? But till you get a better system, don't knock it. So we are with it, and we just have to find processes and systems that will polish it. So I believe that the junta must move away from strong-footed ideology and understand reality. And the reality of the politics of the world as it stands, you have to take some baby steps. You cannot immediately begin to run. So they should just be careful how they go. And I agree that there has to be some normalcy in terms of democracy. But sending out the message that the continued exploitation, crass exploitation of African colonial colonies by some of the colonial masters, specifically France, should cease. They themselves must be brought to the table and made to give people their due so that these countries can bring themselves out of poverty. That is my take on this matter.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Segbefia. We still have issues with the internet, so it means that we are unable to stream on Facebook. But then, alternatively, you can join us on YouTube. We are trying our best possible to bring you a live stream on YouTube. I see a number of you watching from YouTube. Thank you so much. But you can also leave your messages. The text lines will be displayed on the screen. Leave your messages. I'll read them as the show progresses. If you pick today's edition of the Daily Searchlight newspaper, it has done some very long mathematics about how the cedi has lost its value over the last 17 years. But I don't think it requires any form of extraordinary mathematics for the ordinary Ghanaian to even arrive at the conclusion that the cedi has lost its value over the years. Since we had a redenomination on 1st July 2007, I remember vividly, with a song that came with it. The Bank of Ghana will be changing our currency. From July 2007, our money will change. We will carry less what was for our banking transactions. There is no change in value. The value is the same. The value can never be the same. So that has been that. In the case of the Ghana cedis, when we had the redenomination, I think it was 92 pesos to a dollar. As of 1st July 2007, 92 pesos to a dollar. Today, go and send 92 pesos. Take 92 pesos to a forex bureau and say you want $1 and hear what they tell you. So today you require in excess of 13 Ghana cedis to acquire $1. That has been the plummet of the currency, the Ghana cedi, over the last 17 years. Did we ever think that we're going to arrive at this point? Let me start with you, Dr. Marzouk, on this subject matter. Is this something that surprises you, especially over the years? And this is something that's been caused by both the National Democratic Congress and then the New Patriotic Party. The spiraling of our currency, and it appears that it's going to continue. I don't see in any universe or in any world where we are going to be having the cedi to dollar ratio back at 92 pesos. It will never happen.
What if the movement comes to power?
Yes, movement is coming to change.
You can't say never.
Dr. Marzouk.
Anyway, so as usual, let me admit that I am not an economist.
Yeah.
But I am a victim of economic mismanagement.
Yeah.
And therefore I have the right to talk. When the dollar depreciates, against the CD. I have every right to talk. I am an international trotro. I go out of this country frequently, so I use dollar. If so, I should be interested in the relationship between the dollar and the CD. So I'm speaking, fellow Ghanaians, and I'm speaking my economic gurus and the finance ministers and whoever. I'm speaking not because I am an expert, but because I'm a victim of economic mismanagement. Yeah. You see, as you have rightly said, right? You don't need. It is always said that in research, when the phenomenon is so obvious, you don't need any hypothesis to test it. You don't need to do any research to establish that if you drink poison, you will die. Or if you drink...
Why that example?
because the dollarization has become a killer. It's another form of poison. Easy. So this we thank the researchers, but I think they have stated the obvious.
The obvious, yeah.
Yes. So it is important for us to understand. I am not surprised. You asked whether I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because I know, although I'm not an economist, I know that our economy is largely dependent on the benevolence of the European and American taxpayer. And that is why the two political parties will be struggling to establish the fact of who goes for more loans and who doesn't go for more loans. Who goes for more A's and who doesn't go for more A's. Because our economy is largely serviced by the benevolence of the American and European taxpayer. And that brings to the fore another sad reality. That is economic imperialism. So, because we've not been able to attain a certain level of economic sovereignty, we are bound to be the victims of economic dictates of these powerful economies, the imperialist West, and even the East. Let no one deceive you into thinking that when the East also have the power, they will treat us equally. No. No. It is the reality of global governance. It's the reality of international relations and diplomacy. Yes, we are not saying that we want to live in isolation. No, it's not possible. In modern society, no nation can live in isolation. But all we are saying is that our relationship, our international relations, should not be condescending. The word has been used. We should not be treated as second-class people on this earth simply because of our economic status. That's exactly what we are saying. So if you say it this way, I agree with the researchers, except that I'm saying they have stated the obvious, and it is because we do not have absolute control over our economy, and that is why we depend on the imperialists for servicing of our economy. You know, when MPP came with a policy of Ghana Beyond Aid, I praised that policy. I praised it, and I thought it was possible. I thought it was very feasible because, I mean, I trusted the regime, and I thought that those who were trumpeting that policy were ready to even implement it. Unfortunately, Ghana Beyond Aid has now become Ghana Above AIDS. because I mean, it is we have come to a stage where we are even looking for opportunities for the aid, and we don't even get those opportunities. You see that? NDC did the same. There hasn't been any regime that has been able to bring down the controlling growth or the victious growth of the dollar. No regime, since the birth of Fourth Republic, no regime has been able to bring down the venomous growth of the dollar against the CD. No. And so you ask yourself, well, if it's just a matter of occupying that place, and then you submit yourself to the dictates of the international economic trends, then of course every person can be the economic minister or finance minister. Everybody can do that. I think we need to be very serious. Let's come together to work on an economic model that will at least strengthen our city. I don't know how that model is, but I strongly believe that if other countries can do it, we can also do it. Let our economic gurus rise above partisanship, come together. Even if such a group can go beyond party, can be made up of so many party so many economists from so many parties. They should come together, work out an economic model that will ensure the strengthening of our city, and that will also make sure that our city does not depreciate like rain falling. No, I think we can do it. That's all that I can say. I am not an economist, but I know that we have economists who can help the nation. And let me also add that issues of economy should be highly non-partisan. Very, very non-partisan. Let me give you a classic example. I think Senchi, was it Professor Mills? Professor Mills, right? Mills's regime. That we had the Senchi, John Mahama. Yes, but Mills also did something. Senchi, whatever. I think it was non-partisan, right? If my memory served me right, because I could see people like Pienim and the rest, they were good. And then some people were even accusing those MPP loyalists who attended the convention. You know how partisanship can work in this country. It was very unacceptable. You know, so we need such fora so that we can at least benefit from the expertise of our economists, irrespective of their partisan backgrounds, irrespective of their political affiliations. We need to assemble all of them. And I strongly believe that if they come together, they can figure out a solution. Let there be no partisanship in the economic management of this country, and our city will be free from the manipulation of Western imperialism. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Dr. Marzouk. Honorable Segbefia.
I think that Dr. Marzouk, my colleague, has fallen into the trap that Searchlight has set for him, for us. I won't fall into it. What do I mean? Let me use the EC as an example. The EC can make rules and change them anytime. But great minds have sat back and told the EC that a year or 6 months to an election, don't make some changes. The essence of it is that it's not that it's wrong, it creates chaos and it doesn't let things flow. This is a diversionary tactic to take away from the mismanagement of this current government for the last 7 or 8 years. That is what it is. You don't need to be telling us historical issues about what's it called, exchange rates and what happened 17. That is not, we are coming into, we want to know what you have done. What is the exchange rate? Why it has depreciated, especially based on your own promises. We were moving from taxation to production. They were going to arrest the city and lock it up in the IGP. So what are you talking about 17 years ago for? They knew before they made those promises and made those statements. So it's a trap for us to start discussing economic policies of the country for some. I won't do it. I'm here to talk about what this government has done economically in the last 7 years with our exchange rates. And when he said that they have arrested it, what did he mean? That the IGP has the key. So what is going on? Let's not talk of 17 years. It's Searchlight. It's a pro-MPP paper. We all know this. So now to cover the mess that is there, we are looking at 17 years. When there's a problem, we go back to independence.
But you know, interestingly, this is how the paper captures the story. Shocking economic mismanagement by NPP NDC.
Yes, this is the same thing that they'll tell you that we are all the same. This is it.
Okay.
This is it.
Let me come. 1 minute. You see, but in every political discourse, you will definitely make comparisons. Comparative analysis is a feature of political discourse. Especially when you are dealing with
you do that when you are doing this type of comparative analysis. I agree.
Yes.
In the first 3 years of a government, in the 4th year of a government, you assess what that government has done, not comparative analysis. No, this is the point. This type of comparative analysis, if you want to do it, do it across board. when NDC was here, this is what we did, that's the comparative analysis. So look at our depreciation. When we left, the $1 was 3.9, let me even say 4. You are 13. And what comparative analysis are we doing? I can't even sit properly in the chair because this is a total red herring. It's taking us away from the reality of the issues that this government has brought us. Yes. They have failed abysmally.
So, Uncle, if you state what you did right and you state what they did wrong, I think that is good.
When we saw things were going, no, don't tell me how to deal with it. I have to make a point. In any event, when we told them that we have been here before, go to the IMF early, when your indicators are still better, you're going to be in a better negotiating position. Prepare your plan. What was the statement?
You won't go to the IMF.
Never. They said never.
Yesterday, today, or tomorrow, no IMF.
Yeah.
That was the statement. And across board, you heard it. Even, what's it called? Kennedy Ajipong was lamenting during the campaign that the way they all said they are not going to IMF, now he doesn't even know how they are going to campaign.
Yeah.
Because it was clear we were not going anywhere. Meanwhile, every economist who is worth his salt said, you have to go to IMF. There's no way out. But you were there. No haircut after you have been. No haircut. Now they've shaved that ball. If you are not careful, the way we are going, they have to cut heads now. Not hair.
No.
You understand? So, bless, I'm a bit passionate about it because it's a complete red herring. It's trying to make us discuss something that is irrelevant. What is on discussion is the economic management of this government in its 8th and final year. That is what is on board. You have an 8-year this thing and do the comparison. We will not even compare with them because they can, anybody who does a comparison with this government, then it means your levels are low. You don't have any standard because their standard that they have set is, or they have performed, it's not a standard to compare with it. We are the gutter. We are junk status. In that we went to junk status. We have reached 54% in a democratic dispensation. In our current, when have we got to that level? When have we got to that level? We have gotten to 54%. Okay, now, we have gone to 23. We are 23 or 20 something. So, and so you are praising yourself because of the mess you put us in, and you have gone there because there's no business going on. People have stopped importing because they can't pay the duty at the ports.
Yeah.
Why? So if somebody doesn't want $1, and even that, we are still suffering because you have totally alienated the cocoa sector. We left you with about 800,000 tons. We didn't reach a high of almost 1 million. And last year you had 500,000, and the projection is 400 and something thousand this year. So even the people who you are supposed to give cocoa to are, businesses here that use cocoa to manufacture secondary product, they can't get cocoa from Ghana. They are importing. Please, let us understand that this is a total red herring. So it has got nothing to do with that.
Brought it for discussion.
No, but it's good he has brought it.
It's good. It's good we are discussing.
Because this Searchlight is just trying to muddy the waters. Some of us, we put glasses on when they threw the dust. We have taken them off, cleaned them, and we have put them back. We see clearly. We see clearly that this is a red herring. This government has failed. They have nothing to offer Ghana. And one of the major architects is who they are bringing for us to vote for again. We don't need money in Ghana from abroad. We won't borrow. The money is here in Ghana. I have worked at the Bank of Ghana. So the money is here. We don't need. You won't talk about that one. You are talking about exchange rates. We have arrested the dollar. And we have locked it up in the keys with the IGP. We shall not borrow any money for roads. We will toll. You have removed tolls. And the roads are in a mess. Please, let Searchlight go and do another historical data. And rather tell us in the history of Ghana, which government has... You see, this type of comparison. You had a stomachache before. So you have been sick. Meanwhile, everybody knows that a brain tumor where the vessels are flowing is sure death. And you want to compare somebody's stomachache, where it's just a small thing that he has to go and, to the brain tumor that you have created. There's no comparison in IMF. When we went, so many times we went to IMF, where did we have to do a domestic program? So the comparison is wrong. This is the worst mismanagement of any government. You came, the first thing you did was 125 ministers. You subsidy 127. We warned you. My brother. Meanwhile, you were shouting that the government hasn't left you any money. They left you 2 oil wells. By the 8th month you came into office, everybody has worked with one. Prior to that, even Kufuor didn't have. Rawlings didn't have. You have come, you've got 3. That is what you call in Chacha term bonanza. You understand? Yes, it's a complete bonanza. Manage it, keke. Manage it, keke. You can't manage it. And then you come and tell us about exchange rate 17 years ago. Please, I'm done.
He has done it.
Even though he says it is not necessary.
He has done it. Please, if I can get the tablet for messages, I'll be very happy. If producers can get me the tablet for messages, I'll be happy. But let me come to Mr. Owusu, who has I don't know if it's a pie chart or a bar chart or a graph.
I don't have any.
Mr. Owusu, take us away, please.
I mean, when the NDC speaks and the MPP speaks, all they do is to campaign for the movement. So, but before I move to that, you see, because the MPP.
I hope you are not implying he's MPP. Because I'm definitely NDC. So
no, but Ken Kranche.
You're talking about Ken Kranche.
So you both
so you have kept him out of it.
Oh no, he's a neutral arbiter. I don't want to push.
The players may get confused.
No. He has been so neutral in all his deliveries. That sometimes when they throw the political issues here, I wonder how he goes to but I will insist that he joins the movement. I mean, it's a proper person for the movement.
Thank you. I'll come. Don't worry.
All right. So the New Patriotic Party has issued a statement. I want to start from that angle to link it to this whole confusion that they are trying to throw into the system, so that Ghanaians are aware what and how election 2024 will be. Inauguration of regional campaign teams. And I just want to go to the last, the composition of the team. The regional campaign coordinating team shall comprise the following: regional chairman, head, regional minister, deputy head. This is where I end. The movement for change, if this thing continue or subsist, will not take any decision that will be coming from any RECSEC or DISEC series. We are going into a major election. The regional minister is supposed to be the regional boss, in charge of the regional security. That same regional minister is the deputy head of a campaign team. And he will go and take decisions at the regional level concerning security for the region, and he will come back and discuss with political parties and independent candidates. You think we would agree? So, if they do not review this position, I am going to advise my candidate Alan Chamante that under no circumstance must we take any decision from any of the regional security coordinating council serious. And this is not only limited to one region; it's across board. In some instances, they are even saying the MMDCs are part of it, and you know the MMDCs are responsible for DISEC. And they will be taking crucial decisions for this election. That's why I'm saying that the only thing left for the New Patriotic Party is to rig election 2024. And they have given you an indication as to how
they are going to do it.
They are going to do it. And I'm saying that we are too old for some of these tricks. We have been there with them before. No regional minister's instruction will work in election 2024. Take it from me. And the security officers or officials of this country, look, if the security officials of this country have suffered under any regime, it is under this current dispensation. Security officials that ought to be promoted that should have been promoted by now because of partisanship, whom you know, they are still where they are. The only salvation they are looking up to is an independent candidate who will come and lead this country and promote them based on their competence and qualifications. And I want to assure the security men of this country, men and women, that under no circumstance would you go and side with these regional ministers who are busy for nothing, who have made a lot of money and think that they can influence the outcome of election 2024. Remember, during the special delegates elections, the Upper West Regional Minister, you know what he did at the polling station? When he got there, so no security works. Once he is there, he's in charge. He's in charge. So that you go and rake, they must be very careful. So this is my initial submission on that.
Preamble.
It's a preamble, very good. See, who doesn't know that our city is a baller currently? And you know what makes it? You know what makes it very serious? Because we are not even servicing external debt.
Yeah. So imagine if we were.
And
We'd be
because
worse off.
we are not doing any productive activity in this country currently. We are in a shithole, if you don't know.
That's French.
Yes. See, when the diplomatic talk comes in, those my people on the street, they don't understand the issues.
So
You have to. That is where they understand it. Plus, the country is in a difficult situation. Currently, the cedi is 13, doing 13 against the dollar. By December,
In an election year.
it will be somewhere 20. But apart from not producing, this
In
morning
an
I heard the
election year.
Minister of Intersport say that any leader wins gold will be paid $3,000. They are even part of the problem. You are in Ghana. Our currency is cedi. When you go to the UAE and even South Africa, they are so proud of their rand and naira.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is only in Ghana that someone who has never seen dollar will be quoting in dollars. There are laws that frowns on these things. The minister openly said we are going to pay $3,000.
No, if he uses the cedi, by the time he finishes speaking, the money is less.
Less. Then you top it up. So how can we grow? But you see, there is a basis or there has to be a historical background to where we are. And it's known to every government that has come. What we have lacked is the courage to confront our problem. You see, we are always thinking about the next election. All our strategies is about how to do artificial things so that we win the heart and minds of electorate without thinking about the future generation. I always ask, when you win power or lose power, and so what? When you have the power, and so what? And when you don't have it, and so what?
So what?
Why wouldn't you do something that posterity will remember you for that? We took up structural adjustment. Remember, Kwame Nkrumah had been taken off after he brought in his 7-year development plan. What was the 7-year development plan? It was to focus on agriculture and industrialization. Any country that do not produce anything is bound to fail. The world now is a global village, so every country must matter. What was our total contribution to the world economy during COVID? During COVID, the American economy was exposed badly, that indeed they depended solely on China. During COVID, our economy was exposed badly, that everything we needed, we depended on China. So why can't we start with thinking about the way and manner we run our economy? Why don't we focus on sectors that we have comparative advantage? We have vast lands. We can concentrate on agriculture. And through agriculture, we can add industrialization. If we can do these two things alone very well, it will serve our interest. A country where we are doing school feeding program, we are doing free SHS, yet we are not producing a lot of food here. What do you think will happen? To the extent that our students at the secondary schools, they eat without meat, they go to breakfast or have breakfast without bread and other pastries. Sometimes not even sugar. Meanwhile, these policies must go with locally produced food items to enhance the income levels of our farmers. Coordinated policy. Right? We do politics with it. This one says it's not good. This one says it's good. At the end of the day, we go and vote. We change, bring another set. We come and look. If we don't change the way manner we do our things, and going for people who are planned, it will just be removing one set of people from office and replacing them with another set, and we will come and discuss the same problem. When NDC was in power, were we not discussing the same problems? Depreciation, inflation, fuel prices up, GDP low, unemployment. Were these not the issues that we were discussing? MPP comes, what are we discussing? The same thing. It means we are not confronting the fundamental problem. And we can only do so when we begin to take that NDPC, or the National Development Planning Commission, that body very serious. That all political parties come together, we formulate. You did what we call, was it 30-year development plan or so during the NDC? 40 year. What has happened to that plan? The inputs that Ghanaians made, why are we not implementing? Why must we focus on manifestos? In fact, any manifesto that runs contrary to what the NDPC provides must be discarded. But we are not discussing these issues. Toothpick we are importing into this country. Nothing we are producing here. And those that are even struggling, the few Ghanaian companies that are struggling to produce locally, go and check the interest rate. Now the MPC is 29%. People are borrowing at 40% in this country. And we have someone at the Bank of Ghana being paid. We have people at the ministries being paid. Where did we go wrong? So these are the issues that Gladys might have to join the movement for change and to insist that Mr. Alan Kyerema must lead the country. So that we take ourselves from this NPP, NDC politics. It's long overdue. And until we begin to produce some of the things that we import into this country. Look, our problem, most of it are imported. Most of the problems are imported into this country. That is why when the Bank of Ghana is always using monetary policies to checkmate our inflation, I laugh. Or interest rate, I laugh. The man sitting in China is increasing his prices. I go and buy the items into this country. Already the port duties are so high. Which businessman will go and buy something 2 cedi and come and sell it 1 cedi? I will sell it 2 cedi 50 pesos. So I am carrying the problem from outside and not within. So even the policy prescriptions, solutions that we are prescribing to our problems are off tangent. That our leaders know. But when you go and see them, so you don't understand politics. What is politics? The ordinary man is suffering, say politics. And I wish the country will make laws where when someone is about leaving office, like a president, he is mandated to go around the country to go and campaign again.
Validation.
Yes.
Validation.
Validation. Whether or not he should refund all the monies he took as a president, or he should be paid more and listen to what he will be told. Before President Akufo-Addo came to power, in MPP, I never knew our only song was na 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 we're a winner. Everywhere, na na na. Even when we were eating, na 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 we're a winner. Not knowing he was asked, I won't even go there.
You have already arrived there.
Hey! If we could turn back the house of time,
We told you.
when you were saying it, some of them wouldn't believe, but you think your record was good.
What do you mean?
We have put this country through doomsday and we were struggling a year and then we would take your matter serious.
But we didn't send anybody to dams to go and pray. It was Kufuor.
That was a miscarriage of justice.
So
President Kufuor was a miscarriage of justice.
look.
See, we played all this music, not knowing he didn't have any clue how to lead this country. You see, he has checked out. He's gone, long. And the vice, who said he has locked the dollar and given the keys to the IGP. Now the dollar is now on the free flow. He's telling us that he wants to come and lead. Where did we go wrong? and they see rigging.
He was sidelined.
Sidelined, eh?
That's why.
You see now he's quiet. Ever since internet shut down, that digitalization man is gone. Ever since Thursday, I've been monitoring the vice president to make noise about digitalization. People risk losing their jobs. You have been told it's going to continue for 5 weeks.
We said indelible ink.
Yes,
Necessary.
yes,
Because
it could fail.
Can fail.
Yes,
People were making. We have seen it now.
but when this was,
We have seen it
you
now.
don't have backup plan.
You need a backup.
When this was,
What is happening?
this man has been worrying our brains, our ears, our mind with digitalization. Since Thursday, no internet is working.
No.
Banks, Absa Bank, Friday, they had to shut all the operations because nothing was working. If people had money and they wanted to deposit there, they couldn't. Someone needed to pay loans last week because of internet. The person couldn't pay because the bank could not accept to record. They have recorded it as default. The person is paying penal interest on it. You sit there and you talk digitalization, as though before digitalization came, we were not living.
It's a lesson.
That is why it must be coherent. You first of all have to deal with your infrastructure. What is the infrastructure surrounding digitalization? It's not even shameful that Africa as a whole, we don't even have underground and undersea cables that we are managing ourselves. That everything European, American, European.
When the African gas pipeline was torn with a ship, the MPP, they use it for politics. They used it against. Why? Are we the one driving the ship? You understand? The thing has torn. We thought but you all used it for politics. That there's doom saw. We don't have this, but the thing had been cut, and it took how long to fix? It said it's not an easy thing to do, eh? Yes. And now you have to reverse, and all this happened, and it was the MPP put it down to our NDC causing problems and doom saw. If today we tell them that it's their fault, everybody knows that even the things that one of the pipelines that is cut is in Cote d'Ivoire, the other is in Europe. Portugal. So Portugal, and how it happens simultaneously is an issue.
Yeah.
In our land of suspicion, people will say, at the same time, something is going on.
Yes,
you see, that is how people are thinking. But it looks like just coincidence. So, if we were a different kettle of fish, by now the political decision will be jumping on them. But we understand it.
Very well.
Our concern is that people are saying, hey, so in an election, if this thing happens, or we are going to totally rely on technology, digital, and this kind of thing happens, how do we transmit it? So there must be some form of manual backup.
That is the point.
This is, you see, and when we say these things, people think that, oh, we are doing MPP and this. No. Who doesn't have backup? Even your mobile phone, as you have got it there, making this thing. You do iCloud. So that if it goes, then you go back to them and they bring it. So there's backup. But in this case, you have to look at it in terms of how it can be properly dealt with.
So, Bless, you see the submissions of both.
Even Solo is not that.
I will give my minute to Solo. Because I love his submission.
I want to hear you more.
Yes. You see, his submission, my uncle's submission, have brought to fore the need for self-reliance rather than dependency mentality.
Yeah.
You see, if we, as Africans, or if you want, as Ghanaians, cannot ensure self-reliance, definitely we will depend on others. And self-reliance has always been better than the dependency mentality. That's all that I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's right, and that is where we must go. Now I hear the NCA saying that all the internet providers, mobile network operators must help in the Ghana internet exchange, so that we develop it and then wean ourselves from depending on these foreign cables. The problem has come. You have been put there as the chief executive of NCA. We have a minister responsible for communication and digitalization. We have a vice president who is more or less an ambassador for that digitalization. None of them could see this. Now some schools are not working because now if you go to our universities, some of the lecturers, they do their lecturing online.
Yeah.
You understand? People are in Ghana here, they are working for companies outside Ghana.
Yeah, I've seen a story where somebody has lost their job.
Yes.
It has caused a lot of disruption.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has caused a lot.
And now we are being told that it's 5 weeks. They are not even too sure whether after 5 weeks things will work out. And we have someone whose whole policy is centered around digitalization. So Ghanaians, that's why you don't need me to come and tell you that as for the digitalization, what you are experiencing today, if you don't take care, you go and make mistake and even give him 13%. Those 13% will go to your various homes and search for you. Now, why do you want to steal, in spite of what you have seen, want to vote for Alhaji Bawumia?
13%.
13% is too much. But we gave NPP 44%, NDC 44%. At that time, inflation was 15.4%. We gave them 44%. Today, inflation is 23.2%. Let's do the mathematics, the proportion. If 15.4% leads to 44% in election, what would 23.2% lead to? You understand? When NDC...
If you use 54, you get 2%.
2%. So I insist that even with this, because the last time the chief statistician gave us the 23.2%, professionals questioned it. Because around the same time, fuel has been increased. You know, when fuel increases, it affects everything. So what sort of goods did you put in the basket to arrive at a reduced inflation? Hey, Professor Boche or something, you have to watch the figures. It's not good for us, because all of us know that what you told us that inflation has reduced is not true. But I can also put my basket there and put in some goods, and I can tell you that I will reach an inflation level of 90%. So if we gave them 44% for inflation at 15.4, we gave them 44% at an exchange rate of 1:3.8 cedis. So if 1:3 cedi 80 pesos to a dollar could cause NDC to get 44% in an election, what would 13 do? Divide 13 by that.
Your calculation is correct.
So Claire, you don't need any Solomon to tell you that Dr. Bawumia will get 13%. And there is even a survey in Ashanti region that I chanced on yesterday, that in the Ashanti region, Dr. Bawumia is doing 28.4%, Alan is doing 49.8%, and the NDC is doing 20%. After the alleged poisoning of Don Kuma and the removal of Chief Mensah, it's a very damning report that I've seen. The Ghanaian is waking up. Bless. The number of people who are now beginning to bet, have resorted to betting, it's incredible. To the extent that now ladies know football than men. When I listened to a certain lady doing permutation over this weekend, I just give up. How she was telling me Barca could win, and she was going to bet this, and she won yesterday.
Over 2.5.
Yes.
It's hopelessness.
Hopelessness. The youth are not getting any job. And you sit down and you have a flag bearer who comes to tell you that you have created $2.1 million. One Senate data is even telling us that they have only 1.8 million people who have been enrolled on it. And you are surprised about this performance. So Ken Prache, as an MPP member, yes, you can do this busy for nothing. It's an obvious, but like Honorable said, we can do the comparative analysis, which is okay. That is why we have been calling for Ghanaians to sack these two political parties, because they don't deserve our time. But the truth of the matter is that the buck still stops with this current administration. What you have done, whether to improve or disprove the lives of the people of this country. Ghanaians are living worse off currently, apart from the few 0.02% who are enjoying government largesse. So when they see you say, oh, good times will come. You are living good, you say good times will come. Since when? The rest are in abject poverty. I'm even wondering how political parties are going around doing campaign of late. Because fuel alone, you see how wicked they are. They don't even want anybody to campaign. So that by the time you are from Accra to Bolga, about 40,000 is gone. About 40,000 is gone. You understand? So let's go back to the basis. Fix our economy. Concentrate on at least 2 sectors. Produce food to feed Africa. That one alone During COVID, Egyptians and Tunisians were begging Ukrainians and Russians that, oh, they shouldn't close the Red Sea. They should allow food to come. Couldn't Ghana supply Egypt and Tunisia with their cereals, with their grains?
Which we did.
Oh, in those days.
Yeah.
So what is wrong?
Saudi largely depended on Ghana for bread.
Kwame Nkrumah University, they had agric engineering, horticulture, this culture. When all of them finish school, they end up in the banks.
So Kwame Nkrumah, if you bring him to the comparison, then we don't have to even mention MPP. Because his level, the standard is too high.
I mean, I'm even talking about the university, not the Kwame Nkrumah.
Well, you can't. Yourself, you know that you can't.
No, when it used to be New Patriotic Party, we could compare.
Yes, okay.
But when it became an People's Party, I dare say I can't do that. This political party, their members are not even proud of it. So,
What's the new name?
Nana People's Party. You don't believe in Nana Kufado's ideas, you are thrown out of them. You will never see or get any point. So a lot of them are contemplating joining them. They are even joining the movement in their hearts. It's just that it will manifest during election day. That's all that matters. So let's go back there. And then once we do that, this country will be a beautiful place. We are hosting all Africa games here. Ghanaians want to watch, but they are hungry.
Yeah.
They can't even go there. Nothing is working. The economy is kaput. Your own finance committee chairman, you give him Minister of Finance to run, he says no. I prefer parliament work. Why? Because he knows that there is nothing to write home about. The whole place is messed up. You have had a finance minister who messed us up, and you think now he's gone. He's not gone. He's never forgotten. Ken Ofori-Attah's name remains in our heart, that he's responsible, together with the governor of Bank of Ghana, for messing us up. And our children, those unborn, there will be a word to mention their names to them that never in their lives must they allow their families and their co-workers to lead this country in. They have messed us up.
Thank you very much.
Can I take the opportunity to congratulate the arm wrestling?
Yes, I'm supporting wrestling.
Because they've given us, I think, some extra
41.
Yes.
41 medals.
Yeah.
And
You
I
must
think
invest
They have shot us up to the 6th position on the medal table.
when I heard it, the first thing that came to my mind was then we have to take some of these sports which we are, so we should bring Chaskele.
That is an ampere, those things all
Because they brought in all this kind of sport. I mean, archery or whatnot. Unless you want to look for
It will help us.
Yeah.
Always concentration on football. We are. When was the last time Blasters won any major
And some
trophy?
of these sports activities are promotive of our own culture.
Yes.
So it's, but it's kudos to them.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. That I must say.
Right. I'll do a few messages. Good morning, Pan-African TV. What Mr. Wusu said about the MPP strategy to involve regional ministers and MMDCs as the campaign managers, doubling as RESEC, is a plan to manipulate the 2024 elections. They are now using some police, divisional and district commanders to do the bidding to initiate the move to favor the MPP. The NDC, Movement for Change, APC, CPP, PNC, and other political parties must sit up because the agenda of the MPP to influence the police and other security services to manipulate the election is high. Please watch out. Okay, thank you so much for your message. Good morning, sir. Greetings to you and your panelists. Talk of economic mismanagement. Another administration is the West. This MPP has collapsed our economy, but what bashes me is those who cannot even get 2 square meals a day still support these people. May God have mercy on Ghanaians. From Seydou Alassane in Kumasi. Thank you, Seydou Alassane, for your message. Good morning, bless. I'm Bernard in Bogatanga East. What if this internet blackout is a rehearsal for rigging election 2024? Well,
There we go.
we hope not. Good morning, bless. I'm Dominic Mahimi from Bogatanga. In fact, bless, tell the NDC, tell Honorable Segbefia that I like his vibe and absolutely perfect submission. In fact, because of him, I'll vote for NDC come 7th December 2024. Okay, thank you so much for your message.
Because of you alone.
Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, my brother. Truth be told, the SCG board should be held responsible for what we are going through at the moment. It should stop playing politics with the mind of Ghanaians and do the needful. What we are going through is nothing but generational and nothing else. And this is what happens if leaders fail to responsibly to take responsibility for their failures in their line of duty. President, for God's sake, came to meet Dumsor, but he took the responsibility upon himself as a leader to solve the problem. But what did we see under President Kufuor? Pastors were sent to Akosombo Dam to pray for rains to fall. We are simply calling for a load shedding table for us to manage our lives moving forward and nothing else. Thank you so much for your message, Hamza from Pig Farm. Right, I'll do some more. This one here says, good morning. Team Baumia mentioned Mahama as incompetent, and they are even worse. What name are we giving this Baumia government? Please. Jiwonu from Jowolo sent this message. Thank you. This one here says that, good morning. So this my MPP government still doesn't see the hardship in a country called Ghana. Please don't give them any time or airtime or to come and throw dust into our eyes. Please, we use God's name to beg you. People are dying out of hunger. From Mante at Afram Plains South. Okay, let's proceed to what will be our final topic. I think we have some time. We have time. It has got to do with the current power rationing. Yesterday, or was it Saturday actually, I was so frustrated myself. I called ECG to ask them of when they would restore my lights, and I didn't get any inspiring answer. She said, oh, she didn't know. I said, okay, prepaid, I have paid for something in advance. you are supposed to give me that thing. You are not giving me, and you can't even tell whether you are going to give it to me in future or not. And I felt like that was so wrong. I told them my peace of mind, and I just hung up. But is it the case? And I'm talking about what the paper has captured, that tell Ghanaians the truth, power challenge, purely generational. And I'm going to start with Honorable Segbefia on this particular topic. The ECG has come out to tell us that there are some issues, and so they are resolving them. But even that, Ghanaians feel that it will only be proper if we were given a timetable as to when and what time the power would be taken, so that we know how to plan our lives around it, at least. But this is the case where we are not told anything. We will just be there, and then the only communication they've come out is that we should expect more power outages at peak hours. That is from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. But sometimes, my place, for instance, from 11 to 6 a.m. in the morning, sometimes the light goes off. And I'm sure a lot of us, for all of us sitting here, we experience it. What at all, and I don't know if Honorable Segbefia is in the position to tell us, what exactly is the problem? I hear people say a lot of things. Generational capacity, and we are indebted. There are lots of debts that we've not settled, and so that is why, and all of that. What exactly is a problem with regards to our power issues?
Look, let me be clear. This government has failed abysmally, simply because they have no plan. There is no plan for the country. There's a plan to stay in power forever. There's a plan to make individuals rich. But there's no plan for how this country should grow or even stay where it was, let alone growing. And somebody say, oh, you're being harsh. But no. Look, somebody is coming to help you to collect your tariffs. PDS, or was it, or what was it?
PDS,
Yes.
Power Distribution Service.
We lost how much from the grant from the Americans? $100 and something million, because this government could not set it up clearly if they were not going to get an interest from it. It's a scandal that is waiting for us to go into. This is a government that loves Ghana. You put together a mess. That means that dash money, 100 and something million, that you are, even the PDS thing they did, which showed that it would work. The money collected by that company, we haven't accounted for it yet. Or am I mistaking something?
No.
It's not been accounted for. Huge amount of money that went into it. They showed that the collection was good, was partly privatized, more or less. So it can work. But because we are not going to be in charge, we'll spoil it. And we lost. So that is just one clear example of why we are where we are. Because there are three facets to power. You must first of all generate the power. Then you must transmit the power. And then it must come into our homes and we use it. The transmission point is GRIDCO, and the end user point is ECG. But our initial problem was generation. We couldn't generate enough power. That's why President Kufuor's era, they had to send people to go and pray at Akosombo Goda. Because we're all reliant on hydro. Yeah. So the moment there's rainfall problem, your power, output reduces. So it wasn't something that was created under John Mahama. Anytime we have low rainfall, you get doomsday. It got to a crescendo because every year, the demand for power increases, especially when you are going out there to tell people who are coming in, come to Ghana. We have stable electricity. We have peace, stability. Come and put your factory down. So as they come in, your demand for power increases. Nobody addressed their mind to it. It came to a crescendo under the Mahama administration. And Mahama didn't go around saying, this person caused it. He said, I'll fix it. And he was talking about the generation area. And he fixed it. Not me saying, the MPP have confirmed it through change. Even Daumia says that he shouldn't give himself credit for something that was there already. In other words, he accepts that he fixed it. So the next thing was, in order not to give us credit, they were talking about excess power in Brazil. Are we correct? Look, when you listen to a program done by my colleague Kwabena Donko, you get a better understanding. Because there are two excesses you must cater for. When you do your power, your consumption, you must have an excess capacity of almost about 20%. And then there's another excess capacity which you must also cater for if you are doing proper power distribution or generation. So if you don't cater for those things, when you hit a crisis, you have a problem. So we did a mix. Hydro is there. We thank God to President Kufuor for reinstating the Kwame Nkrumah project of Bui Dam. That was a Kwame Nkrumah initial project. He came, he saw the need, he did it. Achampong did, is it Pong? Yes, Achampong did. But when you look at oil, gas plants generation, it's all down to John Mahama. He brought the barges, he brought this, he did that. And our, production increased. Your issue is that we created too much. The idea behind that was to even see how best you can increase, but look at exports to Ivory Coast, Burkina, Togo, and Benin. Yeah. So we should have already been looking at that and started rather increasing more, so that when your demand goes too high, you can pull some of that power back, but you're not losing out on the excess capacity. You didn't, because you had no plan. You just came and met it, and you start crying that you have excess power. What did you do about it? Now, you don't have the power at all. But the machines are there. So what is stopping the machines from working? Fuel. Gas or crude. That's all. So that these machines can work at full capacity. After all, we have just had spillage. So the hydro is at 100% as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. You understand?
Yeah.
The hydro must be at 100%.
Yeah.
The cheapest form of electricity, hydro.
Yeah.
We are getting it too much. You cannot complain about hydropower. So now, at full capacity hydro, both at Bui and Akosombo, or thereabouts, almost full capacity, you now have to supplement with the badges. You don't have the money to buy the fuel. People have given you credit, they say they cannot give you credit anymore. That's where we are. There's not rocket science. Let's not make it like there's disagreement. There's no rocket science. There's no rocket science. John Mahama has given you the badges that you say excess capacity. Now you put fuel in it and generate for us so that we can have power. You haven't got the money to pay for the fuel. And the people who even give it, when you give them 20 cedis now, they say, but anyway, you owe us 100, so we will just keep the 20, but we can't give you fuel. Can't give you the power. So tell us how you are coming to deal. We set up a fund for that. What did you do with the fund? We set up a fund for that. What did you do with the fund money? You are doing this, nyafu, 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 my toes, everything's inside the money. And we cannot show what you have used the money for. So I'm clear. This issue has history under this government. From PDS coming. Now they put out another timetable for some works that are going to. They are not talking about what is happening now. They are talking about future closure. And they've given us timetable for the works for that one, A, B, C, D groups. We have been formed into groups. And there will be outage. And that is for the future. They are not telling us about now. What is happening now. So if you say, tell us that, oh, because of what is happening, there will be outages, repairs, this, that, and the other. You messed up the final area, which was ECG. Gridco has always had issues with regard to transmission, so you have to. And part of the problem is that they are not even keeping up. If you have a transformer here for 100 households, and people are migrating, population is growing, and now the 100 becomes 150, the transformer will cut down because it is not meant for 150 households.
Yeah.
It is meant for 100.
Yeah.
So you, ECG, you should be knowing that checking population sensor, in 2 years' time, I have to change this machine.
Yep.
In 5 years' time, you have to change this machine. All this should be there. And then you begin to follow. And then the worst thing about our people is that they don't give information. Why? Tell us what is going on. Tell us, but now you've started lying to us. Why? The person in the house whose light goes off, you mean he doesn't feel it? And it is, they are doing what I call fanful respect. Because they are, even though we are feeling it in Accra, we are not feeling it like outside.
Very serious.
Outside the rural areas,
It's worse.
jai. They are in full doomsday. They are in full doomsday. They can lose power for 24 hours before the power will come. Then even that power, when it comes intermittently, papa. So the thing is a mess. And we just want truth so that we can plan our lives. That's all. Tell us the truth so that we can plan our lives. So this issue of doomsday is just another. Whereas with, and you see, there are two things working now. We have the unforeseen circumstance of the ship that has touched our phone lines. But what if you had the phone lines and you can't charge your phone? Isn't the value the same?
Yeah.
The value is the same. You can't charge your phone. You can't iron your dress. Because there's doomsday.
Yeah.
So if they brought the cables back today, would it change a lot of the business that is going on? It will have an effect on the business people. But the domestic person who is suffering, the value is the same. Then you put the two together. Agbena.
Right. Thank you very much. Ambassador Sampiale says I should extend his warm felicitations to all of you. And he adds that for some time, and he's doing the watching, he said for some time now, the IMF was an economic poison, and NPP campaigned and won on the back of NDC going for an IMF program. When faced with the reality of running to the IMF, they drank full bottle of the poison and killed the economy. Why has everyone forgotten that under the Compact II, it was Bawumia who created the scandal and we lost over 498 million grants from the US? This was meant to support ECG power distribution. This means the current recurrence of Dumso has been created by Bawumia and the PDS scandal. Finito. Napu promised the Asantehene that he will relocate the Ameri plant in Ashanti. Now they have removed some of the turbines of Ameri to be sent to Kumasi, only to realize that they have not constructed pipelines. Ha ha ha. This coming from Ambassador Sampi Ali. Right, on that note, I'll come to you, Dr. Marzouk.
My best regards to Ambassador Sampi Ali. We miss him, and we are very grateful to him for his guidance. Insightful comments. Insightful comments.
You will say it.
I only greet him.
You know, Bless, my submission is based on two things. One, label and content. Two, being proactive and being reactive. You know, we have been, I don't know whether it is an agenda that has been said by some people. We have all been brought into the argument of whether it is Dumso or not Dumso. I mean, yes, it's all Doom or Dumso. Both are matters of semantic gymnastics to throw dust into our eyes. It doesn't matter the labeling. The content here is power outage. It's ongoing. You see, the government and East Allied media could have mounted the argument on the basis of impact and level. If they argue that, yes, the current level of Dumso is still better than what we experienced yesterday, that could be plausible. Even that one is debatable, but it's plausible. Or the level or the impact is not as destructive as it was yesterday. That is another plausible way of advancing an argument. But to argue that we are not faced by Dumso is something that I cannot understand. We have decided to move away from the content, which is the actual power outage. So I decide not to even use the domestic terms. Mine is power outage. One, the one that we had yesterday was haphazard power outage. Two, it was disorderly. Three, it was not planned, right? And four, people suffered. Okay, today. And then the only beautiful thing about it was that we were given the opportunity to manage it by a timetable. So the availability of the timetable is not a solution. It's management. Just to help us to manage that situation. Because the timetable alone will not be enough. We won't continue to be in the timetable forever. We just want to have the timetable so that we can manage the effect of it.
So we are not taken by surprise.
We are not taken by surprise. If I know that tomorrow I will not have light, I can iron my shirt or whatever I'm going to wear so that I will look decent on TV, right? But if I don't have the timetable, it adds another layer to the burden already imposed on me by Dumso. So all that we are asking the government to do, or not the government, please, the managers of our electricity to do, is to give us the opportunity to help them. Because when there is an issue, the solution becomes a collective responsibility. We want to help you. In search of solution, let us know when we will do what so that we can prepare. Right? So, because the argument now is that, oh, there won't be a timetable because the issue is not Dumso. That's the argument, which is unfortunate. Because why whether you call it Dumso or not, at least you cannot deny that we have an acceptable level of power outage. And that that alone is enough for you to give me a timetable. You see, so that leads us to the point number 2 that I have made, I have raised. That is being proactive and being reactive. The whole incident is telling the whole world that our managers of the electricity are not proactive. They are reactive. And it is because of their lack of proactiveness that they cannot even produce a workable timetable for us to manage the situation. They need to be proactive. Let me also tell you, if they had been proactive, these issues might have been prevented. They should have known the level of consumption needed for Ghanaians. They should have known what gadgets or what facilities should be maintained at what time. Because some of the arguments are that the facilities are undergoing maintenance. You understand that? So if it is a matter of maintenance, at least you should know. You should let me know when you are maintaining what, so that I can plan for that. So, my brother, it's all a matter of inability to be proactive. So all I am saying is that let the managers of our electricity tell us that yes, we agree it is not Dumsor, but they should also agree that it is an acceptable power outage, which must be subjected to a level of management. One of the surest way of managing that challenge is a workable timetable. Thank you.
Very much, Mr. Owusu will take the final part on this subject matter.
So, Dumsor is a local palace.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Dum means off, and the So means on.
Yeah.
Who in its rightful sense will say we are not experiencing off and on.
Yeah.
So if you have the electricity, the boss of ECG coming to tell us that we are not in Dumsor, then he may be coming from Azerbaijan or Kosmokaya, because it's a local term that refers to off and on. You see, men are trapped by their words, horns by bulls by their horns. The decision by this current administration not to accept that there is Dumsor has its history. That it was the same Dumsor that led the NDC out of office. So if you were them, would you accept that there is Dumsor so that you go out of office? But the point is that all the indices based on which the NDC was booted out of office is happening and happening worse currently. And that is why I am saying it will only take divine intervention to save the NPP from getting 13% in 2024. And that divinity has eluded that political party. Now that people are being, it's alleged that they are being poisoned, they are being killed here and there. That divinity is long, long gone. Look, during the NDC's era, when there was power outage, I took the trouble to one day go to the Electricity Company of Ghana, their office at Circle.
Yeah.
I went there to go and see one of the senior men because I realized that now electricity is a necessity.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have a first-hand information as what I didn't want to hear from. Anytime you hear PR, forget it. The message has been garnished. Go and say this.
Yeah.
Or the minister or this. And I met one of the senior most technical man. He gave me an insight into what the problem was. He said, look, we can't talk, we can't speak. When you go and open your mouth, they will tag you with this political party or that political party. And he said, we have all the solutions. If the politicians would allow us to work in the interest of Madagana, we will solve the problem. The same thing this time around too. I was there last Thursday. The same person. I didn't go to a different man.
The same person.
When I went there, he said, Dadanwa. That was what I said. Dadanwa. The same old story.
Same old same.
Money matter. We have brought a policy called water cash water for something that what Electricity Company of Ghana collects, they just have to go and use it to pay the IPPs and stuff. They collect the money and the money is diverted. There are a lot of inefficiencies in the system to the extent that when power is produced, 30% goes waste. It's unaccounted for. And they know all this because all the illegal connections and stuff appears on their system. But you go into it, it's either the president's brother, father-in-law, sister, brother, is a friend to the president, this is what this country has been reduced to. So no one is dealt with. These optics that they are doing, we are going to cut supplies to
Parliament House.
It's just for the optics. Just for the optics. The real issues are there. Those that are owing hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis are there. They will never go to them. We the poor households that our bills are nothing to us. We pay, you bought your own electricity.
Yeah.
Let them give you power. They say no, contract. You have a contract with the electricity company of Ghana to supply you power. Based on that, you have even prepaid.
Paid in advance, yeah.
So when they don't supply you the power, why wouldn't they pay you interest for on the money that they have taken from you? This is thievery, criminality, being perpetrated by the electricity company of Ghana. And when the boss is asked, are we in doing so? Because he himself knows that ordinarily he's not supposed to be the managing director of ECG. And don't condone to some of these institutions that are supposed to be technically managed. On the author of politics, a political party comes, they will go and appoint someone who has no clue about the place to be managing it. We are destroying our institutions. We are always happy that Obama came here to tell us that we must build strong institutions. Why must it take Obama to come and tell us? When we know that with strong institutions, this country will grow. But we are not doing it. ECG. If you know the amount of... Sometimes the PDS issue. The reason why when people are saying, I don't want to go into it that much, once again, I engaged one of the key actors with the PDS. I'm telling you, if we are taking our time as Ghanaians, devoid of the fraud that associated with it in terms of insurance, they were doing something right. Take it from me. One of the issues that they dealt with there, and here I'm speaking on facts, and I was presented with documents, was that when they took over, ECG standard practice, any procurement they do is inflated more than 40%. Standard practice. So that if you are buying this water for 1,000 cedis at ECG, if you don't submit 1,400, they will even mind. So when they went there, they decided to deal with that issue. And that was what made them to begin to see incomes go up. It was the same ECG, the same asset that they were operating. Why do people think that under PDS, monies were left in their account, but under ECG, monies were not left in their account? Because they dealt with that. But when people realized that the PDS was doing something right, greed at the presidency level, greed. I want 10%, I want 20%, I want 30%. And this one I was speaking from a direct source. So if successive governments, and here I'm talking about Alan Chebati taking over, would go back to the PDS issue and revisit and do dispassionate discourse on it, we would realize that probably we are fighting a wrong battle. What is happening at ECG? Oh, people have hijacked that institution and using it for their personal business. And when they create these problems, there is the entire country that suffers. Currently, if we are going to estimate how much the country is losing because of what is happening, and that is a two-point problem. You are having difficulty with your electricity. Internet has also joined the fray. Are they not killing us?
Having difficulty with the currency.
As for the currency, is long gone. The earlier we join the ECO, the better. Yeah. Because nothing is happening.
Yeah. And
the Ghanaian youth, day in and day out, is losing the confidence that we need to move this country forward. Right. No wonder K.T. Amo said, these young ones, there's nothing ahead. He was right. He has helped in removing any opportunity that the young ones would have had because of his actions and inactions. You get my point. So ECG, yes, it will lead the MPP out of power, it's good, but future government of Alan Kyerematen must not continue with this business of allowing politicians to poke their nose in the electricity company of Ghana. Likewise, the various ministries. Sometimes Honorable has been a minister before. Sometimes I don't know why they even take some matters on board. There is a director at the ministry. When the problem comes, always it must it be the minister. If I were the minister, I'll call the director to speak. Yes. You are the PRO. Why must the minister worry himself? You are technical person. You are there. Why is it that the electricity company of Ghana, the technical men are not speaking? You go to Greek code. The boss is rather let the technical people speak. So let's hear.
Why should even party communicate?
Communicators.
Party, not even government communicate.
The person doesn't have any information and he's giving speaking notes. When you are going on there, they say they are giving you speaking notes. As though you don't have a mind of your own. You have to be guided so that you go and lie. What kind of life is this?
Control lie.
Adult that you are going to station and you say, oh, today speaking notes. When I see a laugh, I say these people must be coming from Canada. If you know you have to go and come and lie, come and sit here and lie. Let the directors and the technical men and the various ministries speak so that we can begin to pinpoint those that are not working, those that are not serving the interest of the country well. Because every minister or every managing director, when they occupy any position, they consult these technical men. What sort of advice do they give to them? And they are always there. They are like chiefs. They don't go anywhere. They are only removed from one ministry to the other. And when you see them, they sit in the rickety cars as though they don't have money. All the big properties in this country is for them. But politicians will just take the blame. When you know very well that these people are the ones messing us up. And they go and take the blame. Sometimes I laugh and say, you make me a minister today, I'm telling you that ministry, either they poison me or I poison them. Because every day, director, you are on air. Every day you will be explaining matters. Your technical point of view would be exposed to the people of this country. Not my view. I am there to only add on.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that the MPP blood in your system come out. You are talking about poisoning.
As for poison, now you see now the people are very angry in Ashanti region. Yeah. No amount of what autopsy fake report will cover any nuisance in this country. The era of poison will cease with the election 2024. And there will be no poison of any political activists in this country again. So ECG, I have prescribed, let the professionals speak. And once they speak, we will know. You see, as it's happening now there is someone sitting behind the PC. When they listen to radio and realize that they are bashing government too much because of power, then they own it. Then they will be there, they look at, then they own it. When they see that you people are not already off it, that's why they are not bringing the timetable. Any civilized country, even if you are doing maintenance, you have to alert us.
Yeah.
And they coin a new term. They say this one is Doom CSA. Can you imagine?
What's Doom CSA?
Doom CSA.
They are offering it and maintaining it. So that they fix every problem with it. So this one is off to fix.
To fix, yeah. Off to fix.
So semantic gymnastics.
Yeah.
Gymnastics, that's what
Yeah, that's
and what even baffles the people of Ashanti region is that the Minister of Energy is coming from the region. So what are you going to tell the people of the region? That when you were given the opportunity, all you gave back to them was off their lights.
So.
And last time I heard a propaganda piece that his people tried to put up. You know, he's also in pole position to get the running mate. I've been advising that if I were him, I would not go and take this shame. I went to secondary school with him. If he becomes vice president, I would be at least happy that, but not under this circumstance, because it would be a waste of everybody's time. Why wouldn't you take yourself off this cabal? So that after 45 years, if the NPP will come back.
Did you say 45 or 45?
45. Because the movement is going to move.
By then he will be old.
But then you will be sitting back and tell Ghanaians that these people, if you allow them to come to power, they will steal your money and put them on ECG's problem is money, and we are begging all the ministers appointees who are in one way or another have stolen the country's money to bring the money back, a fraction of it, so that we use it to go and save ECG. At least the money you took it from Ghana, and Ghanaians are calling on you. Do us a favor like Mobutu Sese Seko, when at a point in time he decided to borrow the people of Zaire.
His own money.
His own money.
Their own money.
When the people who had made you president, you were borrowing the country money. Yes, sir, we beg you, borrow the country money. And let's use it to fix ECG. When ECG fixes, the taxes will come again. You have the opportunity to take. I'll end it here.
Right. Good morning, Bless. Samson Vance. The ECG is not telling Ghanaians the truth. In my area at Oyarifa Teman, the lights goes off in the morning around 10 a.m. and comes on at 4 p.m. In the night, at night the light goes off around 7 p.m. and comes on at early hours of the morning, meaning there is an illegal rationing going on. Ghanaians should rise up. Thank you very much. Bless. Whether Yona swallowed the whale or the whale swallowed Yona, there was a swallow. Dumso or Sodom or Dumsisi. The current situation is that there's lights out and lights off,
exactly,
which is indefensible by any proactive government. Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, Pan African TV. The Domzi from Bokatanga Tongo. In fact, when we are talking about Dumso into the ears of the NPP government, it's like we are singing a melody, worship and praise song to them. In fact, Dumso is real. I think the NPP government are living in a different world with us. That is why they can't see Dumso as Dumso. Thank you so much for your message. Bless, please tell Solo that the digital man is already working on his on baby's Ghana card, so he should give the digital man some praises. From James Kumasi.
Which one?
The Ghana card.
That's even a criminality. The Ghana card, is it not supposed to be given to people between the ages of 15 and from 15 and above?
No,
which law did he amend to be telling us that babies are now having Ghana card numbers?
Well,
they do things with impunity.
Well.
That's a very important point too.
The impunity point,
whether or not it's valid,
yeah,
legal. Yeah. If it's valid, fine. I mean, it's a good initiative. But if you want to do, the problem with the government is they don't. When they get an idea without looking at the law, they just want to implement.
That's it.
I'm closing down toll booths. Who gave you that power?
Yeah.
Who gave you that? That's illegal.
Do things anyhow.
Right.
But we should also be courageous enough to fight these things in court.
Yes. Which court?
Sometimes they'll tell you that. Sometimes they'll tell you that they have the powers to exercise those things. I mean,
a lawyer has asked a very fundamental question, and I think it is very meaningful.
The 24-hour court.
Which
24-hour court?
Right.
The Supreme Court.
I'll read this final one. Good morning. I totally agree with your panelists that we are in Dumso, but arrogant politicians who refuse to face the fact are not telling us the truth. From Azay in Manhian. Today, unfortunately, we couldn't bring you this one on Facebook, but I'm impressed with the number of you who have watched on YouTube. We had a lot of views on YouTube this morning. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's a Monday, the beginning of a new week. I'm sure we are all going to work our socks off in order to get no kufio to eat as usual. It's not easy to get no kufio, for bread and butter. But I want to thank you for your time. Those of you who took time to watch us, we're extremely grateful. The morning show will come your way again tomorrow. We'll have the Tuesday edition. Hopefully, I'll bring some very brainy women in the studios to help, talk about Ghana and all the issues that we face. But let me thank Honorable Segbefia as usual, and then Dr. Marzouk and Solomon Owusu for their time this morning. We are extremely, extremely grateful. I'll catch you tomorrow on the other side. Bye-bye.